Okay, so it's on, and today we will be discussing some steps to start the academic year successfully. So the academic year has started on the 1st of September. In different countries it's on different dates. I was just communicating with our speakers from Turkey, and they started next week. So it's a little bit different in different countries. So I congratulate you with the beginning of the academic year. Wish you a successful year with good students, and if you joined me today online, it means that you are very motivated English teachers, very enthusiastic, and I wish you all the best during this academic year. So I will start sharing the screen, and you will see what we will be doing today. I will just announce our agenda. So we will get to know each other. Just because we are meeting online, it doesn't mean that we cannot share our background, teaching experience. So, and then we will try to determine what personal teaching style every one of us has. And I will present you some interesting activities to start the school year, something that I found online and impressed me a lot, and something from my personal experience that I used with my students, and it was a success, so I hope you will like it too. And we will find out some opportunities that will help English teachers in Moldova to develop professionally, grow professionally, get extra credits and certificates, and just get involved in everything that is organized in Moldova. So the usual question when I was a student, when I talked with my students, was how did you spend your summer? So I will give you just 1 minute maybe to write a comment, or you can tell me how was your summer, what did you do? Very short, Lilia says. What did you do? Did you travel? I have been working, Rodika Chiban says, so no vacation for you. A lot of work in the country. I worked all summer. I have my English school, so I didn't have any holiday, Paraskovia. So probably you will have it some other time during the year. Ina was at the sea, slept, sunbathed, amazing summer. Short and a lot of work for Katie. Okay. Do you see the PowerPoint presentation? No? What about now? On your screen should be? No? Okay, let me do it again. Screen share. What about now? Appeared. Okay. So I will use it to help me speak to you and to visualize everything that I say. So I spent my summer giving birth to my second child, and the majority of my time I dedicated to the newborn baby. And we planned something for the teachers for this coming year. And I asked you to do a task that will help us to know each other better. The task was composed of two assignments, short assignments. You had to complete some sentences, and you had to draw a picture of yourself that depicts you as a teacher. So I did this activity during a workshop with the teachers when we finished the school year, but also I think it is very helpful to do at the beginning of the school year when you are just starting to plan something. And you, when you reflect, when you think about what kind of teacher you are, it helps you to determine what techniques, what methods you use while teaching, and how can you change them maybe to involve students more, to be more interesting for the students, to encourage them, to motivate them to participate. And this is what we got, the drawings from the teachers. Alina, are you online? So Alina says she is loving, kind, humorous, innovative, honest, resourceful, special, strict, and helpful and cool. And we have two more pictures. I give to students, and it has some branches: warmth, power, knowledge, base, smile. And we have a hand with a plant, so it's like discovering potential in the students and growing them. Is anyone from those who draw these paintings online? Can you just say yes, no? If yes, can you comment on your pictures? Yes, who is online? When I'm sharing the screen with you and you see the PowerPoint presentation, I cannot see what you are typing. So in this case, you will have to switch on your microphone.
Okay, so
yes, can you tell me who you are?
I am Paraskovia.
And which?
My picture is that like a sun, and I give to students warmth, power,
smile.
Smile. What else? Base. Through this picture, I wanted to show that I tried with my students, with my pupils, to give them all I know, and through my knowledge, through my audio materials, from I get from internet, I try to teach them English and what I know.
Okay, and if somebody asks you a question, what type of teacher are you? How will you answer?
I am a hard-working teacher, and everything that is hard for me, I try all the time to have a solution for this problem.
Okay, thank you, Paraskovia.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? And I will show you a picture of me that was drawn by my students. So they gave me this poster on Teachers' Day. And they said that you are talkative, energetic, argumentative, creative, helpful, enthusiastic, responsible. With love, Group 2003. So they see me like this. But you know that sometimes when teachers try to analyze themselves, they find lots of some things that they would like to improve. For example, the thing that they said that I'm talkative, I was a little bit disappointed in this because, you know, sometimes you have to give at the lessons time to speak to the students and not speak too much by yourself. So that is teacher talking time. So I started to time myself during the lessons, how much time I spent talking and how much time I give to my students to talk. So that was a chance for me to improve. And I will show you one more thing. So this is the sentences that you had to complete and a little bit understand your teaching style. And if somebody asks me what type of teacher are you, I would think about are there any classifications of the teachers? And I did a presentation about teaching styles, types of teachers last year, and there were several classifications that I found. One was very long, descriptive. It had like 7 types of teachers. Another was shorter, but the best classification that I liked was one suggested by Adrian Underhill, and his classification is very short. So it has just 3 types: an explainer, an involver, and an enabler. So it is based on the criteria of interaction between teacher and students and how they involve the students in the work. So we have explainer, involver, and enabler. Just from these titles, we can predict what it might involve. And we will start with an explainer. Can you name me some characteristics that you think are common for this type of teacher? An explainer. Okay, I'm back. Explains everything in details. So just judging from the title of this type, yes, we can predict that this type of teacher likes to explain everything in details. So if he knows the details, it means that he knows the subject very well. You try to give arguments when you teach a theme. Does anybody hear me okay? Okay, so Radhika, check your sound. So the explainer, you said, knows the details. It means he knows the subject very well. He knows the grammar and the vocabulary. So to explain the topic, he needs to use a variety of language. Something else? Through examples. Okay, right you are. So he gives lots of examples, and usually this type of teacher tries to entertain students. He or she will bring some visuals, charts, diagrams, presentations, will use the board very often, will write and examples everything he or she says on the board so that it is visual for the students. But the disadvantage of this type. What would be the disadvantage when the teacher is too enthusiastic, too eager to do all the job by himself? Talkative, speaks a lot. Not all the pupils like theory. Students' time to talk is limited. So that's the mistake that I made when I just started my career. I was the explainer. I did everything. I was prepared in details with presentations, with chart, used the board very often, wrote everything in schemes and diagrams. The children, the students were listening. It was silence in the class, no discipline problems. But I did all the speaking. I did everything. When I finished the lesson, my throat was dry, my back was wet, so I was like a horse. The mistake of this type of teacher is that he has some problems in involving the students. This type of teacher thinks that the students are empty vessels. They do not know the material the teacher is presenting, and the task of the teacher is to pass the knowledge to fill these vessels. And one more disadvantage of this type of teaching is that the teacher cannot delegate the responsibilities. So he is doing all the job. So that's the problem. The second type is the involver. So how can you characterize this type of teacher, the involver? Engages in activities, uses different techniques. Involves the pupils and is involved. Okay, right you are. So I will show my screen one more time. Flexible. Nice word. Very flexible. Okay, the involver. The involver is good at the subject. It means that this type of teacher also knows the vocabulary, the grammar, how to teach it. He knows the methodology, how to involve the students in the learning process through tasks. You mentioned different techniques. Yes, so this teacher uses a variety of techniques and activities to help students learn. His approach is student-oriented. He doesn't think that the students are empty vessels. They do not know anything and his task is to fill. He tries to find what is their background knowledge, what they already know about the subject, what they would like to know, and how to show this material to them in an interesting way. So this is student-oriented approach. And he controls the class as well. This type of teacher doesn't have any discipline problems, so he knows how to handle them just because he knows the methodology very well, what to do with different types of students, different age and different levels. The enabler is the third type, and it comes from the word to enable, right? The enabler is good at sharing, control, and delegating. So if the first type was doing the speaking all the time, controlling the class, being the boss, the enabler knows how to share responsibilities and delegate the tasks. For example, every time you start the lesson, there is a student who is responsible to collect the homework, and you do not need to repeat it every time. The student knows that the textbooks, the copybooks should be collected and placed on teacher's desk every lesson. So he does this task. There is a person who is responsible to write the date and the topic at the board, to do some other things, to distribute the cards, to collect the cards, and so on. So the teacher is delegating the tasks. She is not doing everything. Creating the conditions where students do the learning. And we spoke about classrooms, the learning environment during our previous sessions. So the classrooms, the environment the students are in also plays a great role when they study. Try to decorate the walls with their paintings, with their works, everything that they did, so that they will feel a part of this classroom, for example. Planning around the learners so the teacher becomes less visible. It means that this teacher knows the methodology so well, he knows the students so well, that when you come, for example, into the class of such a teacher, it will take you some time to find the teacher in the class. The teacher is always among the students, moving, involving them in something. And one more thing is that if the teacher tries to leave their students, just goes, I don't know, to answer a phone call in the principal's office, when she comes, they will be involved, they will be doing the tasks the same way. So they pay maximum of their attention to the activities the teacher has prepared for them. Good rapport with students, excellent classroom management is also a characteristic of this teacher. So good rapport means that the teacher builds trustworthy relationships with the students, strong relationships with the students. She knows what they need, what they want, and what would interest them, how to motivate them. For this, there are several activities, how you can find out the needs and interests of your students. And for classroom management also there are some tips and techniques. I will mention later something of this. Student-oriented approach is also characteristic of this type of teacher, the enabler. And I have some activities that are characteristic for the enabler: project works, discussions, and you see that it's not just simple discussions, but the students are doing something. So it involves some physical movement, like throwing the ball, walking, jumping, some physical activity, debates, role plays, and games. So these are characteristic techniques, tasks, or activities the enabler would try to use during the lesson. So from these three types, which type is closer to you right now? What type of teacher are you now? The explainer, the involver, or the enabler? And what type of teacher would you like to be? Let's discuss a little bit. So what type of teacher are you now from these three characteristics that we discussed, and what type of teacher would you like to be? Mariana, the involver, the explainer, Paraskovia, explainer and involver, Rodika, a little bit from all. Okay. A mix of explainer and involver. And I will show you one more final table to summarize our discussion about types of teachers. So if we try to compare them, combining all is Lilia, we can see the following picture. So the explainer has a star or is very good at the subject matter. He knows the subject, he knows the material, he knows the grammar, the vocabulary, the rules. That is the star, the plus for the explainer. The involver also knows the subject, plus he knows methodology tricks. The enabler knows the subject matter, knows methodology, and knows the people, knows the students, knows how to manipulate, let's say, them, how to motivate them, how to involve them, what are their interests. And if we look at these three types, it's like a kind of scale that you achieve as you grow professionally or as you teach more and more. The author, Adrian Underhill, he said that usually the teachers who start their teaching career, they are the explainers because they do not have yet those methodology tricks or the feeling of the class. So they tend to explain everything, to come prepared, to visualize the material. The involver then tries to delegate the activities. That's the second stage, when the teacher already has some experience, he or she has worked and knows how it functions, so moves to the second stage, the involver. And the last stage is the enabler, so that's the master of the universe, let's say. He knows the subject, the methodology, and how to deal with the people. And this is the type all the teachers should tend to. So they should know the subject, the methodology, and tricks that will help them to manipulate the students. And he says that as we develop professionally, we should try to achieve this enabler style. But it's impossible to be enabler or involver or explainer all the time. It depends on the subject you teach, it depends on the topic you teach. So sometimes you combine, and just as some of you mentioned, I am a mixture of everything. You cannot be just a pure explainer or pure involver. It's again a mixture of everything. So at one lesson, you have to present the theory, so you will be the explainer. You have to check their knowledge. You can be the enabler because they passed already the material, they know the topic, so you will just find some activities. But these are the three types that exist of teachers, and with this classification I liked a lot. So I wanted to share it with you too. And just a funny note, as a teacher, you have the ability to change a story, a mind, a direction, a path, a future, a life, an environment, a situation. So you influence children a lot. So be careful what you choose, what you do, because you influence a life, right? So that's a very responsible profession, a very noble profession. And we will just discuss a little bit about delegating responsibilities and involving the students. So this was the problem the explainer had at the first stage. So how to delegate the responsibilities and involve the students? What do you usually do to do this? And I see some comments, or maybe switch on the microphones and just discuss. Yes, we should be enablers. So that's the mastery of the subject, the methodology, and the psychology, let's say. So what do you do to delegate responsibilities and involve the students? Not just explain all the tasks, the chalk and board approach, let's say. What do you do to escape that? Mime. Mariora, can you switch on your microphone and just some details about miming? How do you do it? And why do you think this is delegating responsibilities, or is it involving the students? Any other ideas? I'm waiting for the comments. So what do you do to delegate responsibilities and involve your students into your lessons?
Hello.
Yes, Marijuana? We hear you. You can just say your opinion. Lilia is playing. So that's a technique that is suitable for any age. You can just find different games. I also play with the students. They are university level, so they like games also. And younger learners just adore them. I like to play, and they too, right? So the teacher also likes to play. It's a engaging, relaxing lesson, right? So delegating responsibilities. Through games, pictures, and music, Paraskovia delegates the responsibilities and involves the students. Depends on the topic, right? So there are different techniques. Snowball uses Ina. So snowball, what is it? Who knows what technique is this? Okay,
Maybe the same as hardball.
What is it?
When we throw the ball and someone catches and choose the role.
Choose the role?
Maybe. We give them the opportunity to choose the role.
And that's it?
To be the leader or the explorer or someone else.
Okay, so that's to choose the role, and that is how you delegate the responsibilities, right?
Not every time, sometimes.
Sometimes, yes, so that's a technique.
Yeah.
Is it so, Ina? Because what I had in mind about snowball was a little bit different. Ina? Can you give us some comments about this technique, Snowball? What is it? Is it the same as Rodika said, to choose the role? You begin a sentence and then someone continues. Yes, so this is what I was thinking about. And we did it like this. We had a piece of paper that you just make a kind of ball. You throw it to somebody, you say the beginning of the sentence, they continue, and it's a kind of, you can create a story, right? Yes, okay. So you begin the beginning, then you throw, and they have to finish to continue, and so it grows as a snowball into a story. But you start with one sentence. And then we had some more comments, choosing interesting topics, something like hot potato. You begin a sentence, then someone continues. Warm-ups, in special when we can teach new vocabulary, throwing and translating words. Okay, it may be done for vocabulary, right. So this technique is just throw, you begin, somebody continues, and we have a bigger collection of something, of words or a story. Have you ever tried to give your students the responsibility to be the teacher during the lesson? Yes. Did they like it? Yes. Yes. Okay, so this is the best example of delegating responsibilities. They enjoy it, right? So you give them the task that for the next lesson, you will be the teacher, you prepare the lesson. I did it with my university level students. They did excellent work. They came with PowerPoint, with pictures, with maps, everything that I was usually doing, they did. And they showed that the material that they studied by themselves, they knew better and more profound than if I would come and explain it to them. They prepared crosswords, they came with games, everything that they liked to do, they did it by themselves. And it was like easier for me to get ready for the lesson because half of the tasks they did and I had just to delegate and to evaluate what they did. And they start to ask me, when will we be teachers again? When is the next topic we will have to teach? So they liked it a lot. And I also found some tips how to start the school year and meet the new class. So the first tip is quest or find somebody who. If this is the group of students who do not know each other, like first year students, or maybe I don't know if you have newcomers in your class, so they will have to complete the sentences, find somebody who has a brother, for example, and they will have to stand up and ask questions, do you have a brother? If yes, they will write the name of that person in a grid, and the task will be to find the answers to all the questions the fastest. Who is the fastest is the winner. And then as a class, we discuss what did they find out about their colleagues, about their classmates. One more thing is photo exhibition. What I did during my summer vacation, they can bring a photo, a picture of how they spent their vacation, or they can draw it, and you can place it as a photo exhibition in your classroom on a string or something, or just stick it to the walls, because when the classroom is decorated with the creations, with pictures, drawings of your students, it's more comfortable for them to come to this classroom and proceed to learning. And they will be telling some stories about it in English. And as the year goes, you can change this exhibition. For example, when the Halloween comes, you will put the pictures of Halloween that they created. Or when the Thanksgiving comes, they will do it for Thanksgiving. Also, I saw that some teachers have a, let's say, habit of taking pictures. Now with the advancement of technology, they take pictures during the lessons, and I also like to do it. So, and we have a photo collection of the events that happened in our class during this academic year. Our next thing is self-portrait. So you can ask them to draw a self-portrait and place just the portraits, how they see it. Or you can ask them to write or to draw a portrait of a perfect English teacher. What do they expect of an English teacher to be like? The best one. And you will have the description, you will have what they want to, and you will know what you have to do to achieve this perfectness that they need or that they want. One more thing that I found online is time capsule. So at the first time you see your class, you create a time capsule. You can use a box or a bottle where you will place the impressions of the 1st of September or a short essay, expectations from the year, some objects that are precious for them, or they can write also everything that you ask them to write. You can also, yes, place it on a piece of paper from the whole class you collected and put in that box or in that bottle that you found. And you can make a short video, create with your students telling something on camera, and also save it on a stick or on a CD and place it in that box. And at the end of the year, you will open it and you will see how you started the year. Did they achieve their objectives for the year that they wrote, or were the expectations that they wanted positive, negative, and so on. And you will have an activity to end your school year. Yeah. So I didn't try this one, but I think it's very interesting, and I'm eager to start teaching and use this one. So I did find somebody who was a quest. We did the exhibition of pictures. It was not connected to summer vacation, but it was connected to different moments in our life at the university. The self-portraits, they usually do not draw, but because they are university-level students, they write an essay about perfect English teacher. And then I have it, I ask them to type it, not to write on paper. So they have a typed text, and it's easier for me to then evaluate the essay that they have. And I use tag Sido. Have you heard of this tool online?
No.
It creates visuals based on words. So if you type in Google tag Sido, it will appear, and you will see that it has different shapes, like the shape of an apple, the shape of a grapes, house, everything you want. And in that shape will be included all the words that you paste there. So I paste their essays there, and then the words that were used more frequently will be in bigger letters, and the rest will be in small letters. So when I ask them to describe a perfect teacher, I have their essays in electronic form. I just copy and paste in that on the Tuxedo website, and I have a bubble that consists of words, and the bigger the words are, so I see what they want, like interesting, motivating, and I see what their expectations from English teacher are. So that's a tool that I use. And you can read more about activities for the first school year, for the first day of the school, at this website. Just will copy the link. teachhub.com, first day school activities students love. So these are the most successful activities shared on that website. And
Thanks.
Some activities that I used with my students. We'll share the screen again so that you can see. So coming back. So if you vary your activities in the class, it will help you to be a different kind of teacher, and it will help you to move the excellent rapport with your students and control them. So this is a picture taken during a training with English teachers. And the activity we did here is the usual that is present in every textbook, true or false. For example, you read the text and then you have to answer the question. Is it this statement true or false, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what I did, I tried to add some physical movement to this activity. The teachers or the students, they stay in one line Then we read the sentence. If they think that the sentence is true, they shake their or raise their right hand if this is correct. If the sentence is wrong, they should show their left hand. Right for true, left for false, for wrong sentence. And in this way, it is visual, it is physical movement, some activity in the class, so they just don't sit all the time. And the teacher can see who answered correctly and who was wrong. So the first three ladies, they showed the left hand. They said that this is false, but actually it was true. And if you see, the majority showed their right hand. So the majority was right, and some made mistakes. They were not attentive to the details in the text, and it's visual for the teachers to see who was attentive and who was just daydreaming. So this is one way to do with hands. You can also do it with, I don't know, some other physical, like jump to the right, jump to the left, or just stand up from your seat if you think this is true or false. And you will see who thinks what. And then you can ask them some comments as well, right? Because some just tend to go with the majority. If he raised his left hand, then probably it's false, and so on. So this is one activity to add physical movement to true-false exercises. Next thing what I did is fishing for questions. This I prepared for Mother's Day. And when we discussed Mother's Day, there is a text, How We Spend Mother's Day by Stephen Leacock. And in the text is described that father and children, they decided to go fishing and mother stayed home. So we were fishing for questions. And I added the element of competition, right? So we have two students who hold one rope. In the middle of the rope, there is a fish, and that the back side of the fish is written a question. So their task is to pull the rope on their finger, and the one who catches the fish first gets the question. If he answers correctly, he can get a candy or some kind of prize. So we were fishing for questions. You can adapt it to your lesson, to any topic. You can just choose, I don't know, a different, or just questions, not fish there. And they will have to hunt for it. So this worked with my students. Then there was a technique, slap the word, to study vocabulary. Just like Snowball, you said you can use it for vocabulary. The technique consists in the following. You have the words from the vocabulary that you studied written on the board. Two students come and they have a fly slapper that you use to kill the flies to insects. The teacher tells the word and they have to find it on the board and slap it, hit it. The one who is the first gets a point. If you don't have these slappers, you can just circle the word. You write it with a chalk. They have chalks, they come and circle. Or erase it, and they erase the word. It can be done with translation. You say it in your native language, and they find the equivalent in English. And then you see a screenshot from YouTube. This is a video that we did with my students from lexicology class. So I like this activity, and I was thinking, how can I adapt it to a more advanced level students? And I found two bottles in the class, and at once it came to me that it can be used as a slap the word. So we were speaking about the connotation of words, positive, negative connotation, and you see a plus, a minus. I was giving them a list of words, and they had to decide, is it a positive connotation word or a negative one, and slip just that circle. So it was fun, and they liked it, and it was a very unusual lesson that we had. And you can see you can adapt it to any course, any lesson. Just need to use your imagination. Next thing is collaborative collage. I did it with students, I did it with teachers, and I'm just curious to know if you tried it with your students too at school, because I presented it already several times. So the collaborative collage consists in the following. You have a topic, and I did it for My Perfect Day in London. So you give them some questions or prompts, the beginning of the sentences that they have to complete. So like, if I go to London, I will visit. If I go to London, I will do eat, I will do, I will try, I will invite, I will take, and so on. And they have to finish the sentences and find a picture in magazines or in newspapers that will demonstrate their sentence, what they will do, what they will visit, what they will find, and so on. But you give, so it's a group activity. There are several people in the group. They finish the sentences together and then try to find the pictures. But there is a time limit, like 3 minutes first round. They finish the sentences and they start cutting and placing the pictures. When the 3 minutes are done, you swap the collages, rotate like the collages. So the group 1 gets the collage from the group on the left, and they have to continue finding the pictures for the sentences that they completed. So sometimes they forget about what they wrote and they just try to spoil the poster of that group. So they place different objects that are like sometimes bizarre or weird, and then 3 minutes gone, again we rotate. Depends on how many groups you have. So every group will have to add something to every collage. That it is why it is called collaborative. And the last round, the collage comes to the original group, and they see that their poster that they have started and they had plans to visit like Buckingham Palace and travel by boat on Thames River is spoiled or is totally different, and they have to adapt to the collage that they have and comment it in a different way and present it to the class. So my perfect day in London changed a little bit. They wanted to go in summer, but they see that it is autumn and rainy. So they will have that my perfect day in London will be in summer when it is raining. I will go with my family. I will visit, instead of a Buckingham Palace, we'll go to see the Spice Girls show, or instead of eating chicken and or fish and chips, I will eat chicken ribs, and so on. So they will have to create totally new story, and that's turned to be a very funny activity, because some of the students, as I told you, did everything to spoil that perfect day, and they just placed their pictures that were not connected somehow, but the group had to comment and connect those pictures. So we had stories that I met my boyfriend there in the trip, I visited a strip show, I traveled with a cruise. Instead of going to London, I turned up to be in Egypt, and so on. So it was very funny. And they spoke English and never tried to switch to their native language, because it was like, you know, fun to see what the story would be. Then we have discussion and debates. This is a technique that is loved by Involver, to use something to start the lesson, to finish the lesson with a discussion or a debate conversation topic. And I found these 3 books online. So discussion starters, first discussion starters, and 50 conversation classes. You can also browse for them online and find in electronic form. And if you go to the ETRC, there is this yellow book, discussion starters, available in hardcover. So you can take it and see what kind of discussions it has. Also, I found a website, esldiscussions.com. It has discussion questions for different topics, and they are placed in alphabetical order. So like A, abortion, Academy Awards, accidents, actors, adoption, adventure, advice, and so on. So you can choose according to the topic, and there will be questions for student A, student B. And usually they will discuss. I put them into circles, inner circle, outer circle, and one of the circles rotates. So they have a chance to discuss their question with different students in the class. Or in 2 lines, and one line moves, another line stands still. So there are different techniques how you can group the students for discussion. It's up to this teacher. The second one is eslconversationtechniques.com. It also has topics. So we have conversation questions, teaching resources, ESL books, and contact. So in topics, you have a list of topics that contain questions. So you choose a topic, and you will have ready-made questions. So this is eslconversationtechniques.com. And in teaching resources, it seems to me they have a bunch of textbooks in English, and they took from those textbooks all the exercises that contained conversation questions, that contain discussions. So you can browse by textbook or you can browse by topics. So these are my students discussing. So one line stands, another line moves, and they have a chance to talk to several students to discuss their question with several students in the class during one lesson. Another activity is called pessimist versus optimist, and it is suitable for, might say, any level, depends on your imagination, let's say. So what it consists of? Students write on small sheets of paper, on cards, three things. So you have three little cards for every student. So on the first card, they write interesting activity, can be like playing games or singing, dancing. Something good, the second card, like friendship. Something bad, like alcohol. Then you collect all the cards from all the students in the class. Appoint who is pessimist or who is optimist. You can do it just by randomly drawing their names and saying like Andrew is pessimist, next name is Mary, she is optimist. Shuffle the cards, the students take, you take one card and show to them. Is it an activity, is it something good, or is it something bad? For example, that was alcohol, something bad. The pessimist has to prove that it is good, and the optimist, sorry I wrote 2 times pessimist, the optimist tries to prove that it is good. The pessimist it is bad, the optimist that it is good. So they have to think of arguments how to prove that alcohol is good, because that's
it's challenging.
Yes, challenging. Or they can have something good, friendship. One says it is good to have friends, and the second says it is bad to have friends, and so on. And I think you can adapt it to the topic that you have. Like you have the same friendship, right? So you can brainstorm words that are connected to friendship, and they will write it on the cards, and then they will have to discuss, to debate, like being pessimists and optimists. So again, this activity I use with my students. The discussion never stops. They have to fight to prove that they are right, and they like it. And you can just adapt.
Developing their vocabulary, I guess, yeah?
Yes.
And developing and checking their vocabulary.
Yes. And you mentioned also games. So types of educational games, I tried to categorize them. Guessing games, board games, dice games, race and hunt games, word games, movable games, and computer games. And do I need to explain any of these notions? If yes, tell me which one and I will tell you what it consists of. I presented this during online session also last year when I prepared Thanksgiving through games. So we discussed the different types of games, and if you are interested, I can send you later the link to that session, and you will see what the games consist of, where you can find all of them, and also Thanksgiving games, the templates that I used to play games with my students. And I see here 2 links that I included. So this is grammar games that I used with my students when we had computer connection in our classroom. The first one is conditionals, who wants to be a billionaire, and it's done very nice. I like it with the sound, with visuals, with nice sentences, examples. And the second one is ESL Mega Plus. That's the homepage of that website, where you can just browse, choose the category that you need, the game that you need. It has grammar games, topical games, and you can choose what suits the needs or interests of your students. Okay, so this is about games. And one more website that I found for role plays. So these are the activities that I mentioned for the type of enabler teacher who uses discussion, games. So this website is also very useful. You can see how to structure a role play, that we have student A, student B, what are the tasks for student A, for student B, and also they are in different topics, different categories.
Thank you.
Okay, and the last thing that I prepared for us to discuss today is what can we do to become better teachers. So we already determined that we are not all enablers, we are not perfect in our profession. What shall we do to be better? Go to conferences, read magazines that are related to our career, right? So I will show you what Moldovan English Teachers Association has prepared for us, for English teachers, during this academic year. And this link will post to you also here. So this is it. First, we have online sessions. This is the first one, and I will tell you what to expect in the future. And we will have live workshops in 8 regions of Moldova. So every workshop will be organized on Saturday, and it will consist of minimum four live sessions presented by our local English teachers and specialists who will be coming from the United States, because this project is sponsored and supported by the USA Embassy, and they help us a lot in finding experts in teaching English from the United States. Also, if you have something interesting that you did during your teaching career with your students, like involving activities, techniques, games, projects that you completed and you would like to tell us about, you can complete this form for presenter and become a presenter and host this, facilitate an online session, just like I did with you today. What to expect from online sessions. So this is the first one. Next one will be on the 6th of September. That is Tuesday, seems to me, at 4 o'clock. And we will have a presenter from Turkey, Yasemin Isla. If you were at our conference, she was present at the conference last year. And she also presented some webinars last year. So for this year, she prepared ice-breaking and team activities to start the school year and meet new students. She teaches primary level. So probably if you have primary level classes, this will be her perspective. She will present the activities for young learners. So at 4 o'clock, mark your calendars, we will have the second session. Then we need also to check the date and time with 2 more presenters. Also presenting in September, and I will notify you by our Facebook group or by email. So Unlocking Culture at the English Lessons, presented by Farhad Hama from Kurdistan, and Questioning in EFL classes, presented by Bochra Cherny from Tunisia. All these coming in September. In October, again, I will notify what to expect later as we approach the end of September. So the thing, how it goes. You will receive the link by email. It will also be posted in our Facebook group. I hope we will have more computers connected to these hangouts so that more people can join. As you see, one hangout can host only 10 people for free, and we have just a free account. So we will have to be inventive as usual to add as many participants as possible for free. So we will add more laptops to do this. And you will have several links. If you cannot join us on the first link, you will access the second link and you will join it through a different room, but the same session. Sometimes the presenter will ask you to do like pre-watching or pre-online meeting task, like I did, complete the sentences or draw something, or read an article, answer the questions, or browse through these websites and do something. Or it can be as a homework later, like we discuss everything online and then the presenter will give you a home task that you will have to complete and get credits. All the session that you attend equals 2 hours, and then we will sum up all the hours together, and we will calculate how many hours online you were present. If you were absent at one of the sessions, but you completed the tasks and did all the assignments later and watched the recording to complete the after watching the session, we will also count it as 2 hours. If you did it, like did it good. So by the end, you will have all the hours mentioned in the certificate that is approved by the Ministry of Education. It will be also stamped and signed by the Ministry of Education, because we are collaborating with them and they are also guiding us through this project. Seasonal trainings organized by Moldovan English Teachers Association. So we have fall school, spring school, and summer school. This is when you have vacation in schools and you have more free time to go at different trainings. For fall school, we already have the date set. This is October 31st, November 3rd. And again, if you have any workshop you would like to present, a demonstrative lesson you had and it was successful and you would like to share, just write us an email, let us know. We will discuss the details. We will discuss how it goes. We will make the materials that you will need, like handouts, poster, markers. We will provide it everything for free. So you just need to come prepared and show what you did. This is for seasonal trainings. You will receive the certificate as a presenter, which counts, I think, much more credits when you give your attestation, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can have a certificate as a presenter. Think about this one. And we have international conference coming in April 2017. The dates are set. That will be April 28, 30. Last year it was for 2 days. This year it will be for 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So you are also welcome to become a presenter, a speaker. There are different types of presentation: demonstrative lesson for 40 minutes, workshop for 80 minutes, panel discussion for 15-20 minutes, or research-oriented presentation for 15-20 minutes. As far as I know, the topic that the Ministry of Education proposed for research this year is communicative competence, right? Mm-hmm. So all the teachers who are to pass for the next grade, they have to research this topic. And it's a perfect chance to present your findings at the conference, get the certificate, get the credit, and just write your final paper on communicative competence. So think about this. The dates are set, mark it in your calendars. Last year we had 7 countries coming to Moldova to participate. It was international, so it valued a lot. And in this year we also hope to get guest speakers from abroad. Dumitru, is it your microphone? Or whose microphone is it? So I have a link that we created to decide about the topics. The topic of the coming conference. So when we started in 2014, it was teaching English to next generation. In 2015, it was learning foreign languages, opening new doors. And last year, it was advancing excellence in English language teaching. So we usually try to suggest the general competence on the topic that is closer to the teacher. So this is the link. You can suggest your own topic, what would be of great interest to you, just suggest us a title, and then we will analyze all the responses and we will come up with the general topic of the conference. So the link I pasted to you in the chat box. And then what we have for students, we have discussion club for students. Last year it was hosted by English Teaching Resource Center in Pedagogical University. This year we decided to change it a little bit and we will go with Native Americans, with other presenters to your lyceum, to your school. You can let us know when you are available, invite your class, and we will come to you, as well as some other students from other lyceums and schools will join us. So in this year, we will be traveling to different schools. If you are interested, write us an email, give us details about your school, and we will come with Americans to you. National contest for students is planned for January, February 2017. So last year we did it for the first time. We tested the students, and those who passed our test, it included listening, speaking, reading, and writing. We paid their international exam, English exam. It was Cambridge exam, which is valid for life. So they passed it, and we paid for it. So this year we have the same price. We will pay for international exam, or we might give them such a price as exempt them from baccalaureate exams. So if they pass our test, they will have the possibility to not to pass baccalaureate exam. So this is for graduate students. One more project we are doing, this is Teach Me, dedicated to children from vulnerable families. And we had some students from medical college who volunteered and went to different orphanages, and they just did some lessons in English with children there. So we plan to continue it. If you have enthusiastic students who are willing to share their knowledge of English, be active, just contact us and we will involve them in that project. Publications. Also, this is additional credit for teachers, and as you know, we have Meta magazine where you can publish lesson plans and articles. If you go to this website, you will see the requirements and you will see our previous publications, what we already published. We have a new issue magazine of this magazine. Just yesterday we received it. So for fall it's done. The next will be in December. So till December you have time to write an article, send it to us, and it will be published if it is accepted, of course, by our editorial committee. Will be published in our magazine. And the most awaited event for teachers and students is Teacher-Student Forum that is going to be organized on the 16th of September in Hashdev Library at 3 o'clock. We will have discussion with the representatives of the Ministry of Education and Direcții Raionale. So we will gather together to discuss what to do to grow professionally, to become better teachers, better students, what projects shall we start, what are your ideas, how the ministry can help us, and so on. So you are invited to join. We have an online form that you need to complete if you are coming. You can bring one colleague of yours and some students of yours. So all of this should be mentioned in one online form. If you haven't found this link, I will send it to you by email. So it is also placed in our Facebook group. There is a group for English teachers, Moldovan English Teachers Association, META. Just like that group, follow that group, and you will see all the links. And we have English courses. Also, the link is in our META group for registration. So this is for teachers of other subjects or for students who would like to get ready for some kind of exams. We have different groups: preparation for exams, communication techniques, English for studies abroad, basic English for career development. And last year we had several groups. We started it with English for teachers of other subjects, and we had like teachers from different lyceums, biology, mathematics, chemistry, coming to us to study, to learn English. Last year we just broadened it a little bit. It was opened not just for teachers of other subjects, but for employees of the public sector. So we had policemen, we had firemen, we had just some secretaries, accountants, people from different domains who were just interested in doing this. The first month was for free, so they had a basic course for free. And then if they wanted to continue, they just had to choose which group they would like to join and already pay some price. But usually we put prices lower than in courses if you would go. So it's reasonable. Just tell to your colleagues if they have this aim to study English, they can do it with Moldovan English Teachers Association. Biology, mathematics, chemistry teachers who would like to learn English are welcome. You see the phone number and the email. The registration is online. So this is it. Thank you for attention. Any questions to me, anything I didn't mention, just I am ready to answer.
Could you please share with us the presentation, the PowerPoint presentation?
Yes, I will place it in our Facebook.
Okay, thank
So
you.
you can download, you can use it, and I will also place the link for the video. You can rewatch it and see how it was done.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Mariora says, even if we are from different countries, we will have the certificate. Yes, you will have the certificate. If you present online, you will have the certificate that you presented online. If you present at the conference, it will be mentioned you will present at the international conference. Yes. So I hope our first session was useful for you. You found out something interesting, what type of teacher you are and what you can do to become a better teacher in Moldova.
Thanks a lot, Irina. It was very helpful and useful and very informative. I've got a lot of information. Even I've been teaching for 18 years already, but it was a very helpful just conference today for me. Thank you a lot.
I'm very glad it was helpful. So if there are no questions, I thank you for being online on Saturday. Wish you a successful school year, good students, nice projects, and the feeling that you are an accomplished English teacher. So I hope to see you online during our next webinars, and just wish you a great weekend. Enjoy your short vacation, and goodbye then.
Yeah,
Look for the
bye-bye.
link
Thank
online.
you. Thank you for a nice morning.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.